Hello, everyone, and welcome to the All Things Childcare podcast, where we talk about the real issues, challenges, and successes in early childhood education. I'm your host, Melody Johnson, along with Majette Daniels, Sheila Davis, Tamika Jones, and Adrian Tyrus. And we're excited to have you join us today. Our goal is to support childcare professionals with practical strategies, meaningful conversations, and tools that help programs grow and succeed. Today's episode focuses on an important topic for every childcare program: roles and responsibilities. In a childcare center, it truly takes a team, from administrators to teachers to support staff like food service and transportation. Every role plays a critical part in keeping children safe, supported, and learning every day. But what happens when roles aren't clear? We start to see confusion, miscommunication, and sometimes even compliance issues. So we're going to break it all down. Who is responsible for what, how each role supports the program, and why accountability matters across the board. Now, I'll be honest, there is a lot to cover when it comes to this topic. So much so that we may not get enough time to cover this in one episode. That just means we'll be continuing this conversation in our next episode to make sure you get all the information you need. So, whether you're a director, teacher, or a support staff member, this episode is for you. So, let's get into it, ladies. We ready?
Yes, we are.
Yes, yeah.
All right. So, just why are roles and responsibilities, why do they matter? Why is it important?
They matter because the number one thing is we want to keep the children safe. Safety at its best. When roles are not clear, children are left outside, children are left in the restroom, doors are locked when it's time to do fire drills, just things like that. So we want to make sure that everybody knows exactly what their roles are, including, like you said, food service, substitutes, all the people that are connected, even the families need to know. It's a whole collective effort.
Yeah, I agree. Last week, our our topic was on onboarding, and part of that onboarding is one of the most important pieces, which is the responsibility of the person that's coming on board with you. Everyone needs to know what their role is, so they know how their part, what part of this whole scheme of things is called childcare, what it entails. If you don't know what you're supposed to do, then everything that you're building can crumble down in an instant. So it's very vital and important for everyone to know what their role is.
Yeah.
And
So, I
also,
agree. Go ahead, Miss Davis. Mm-hmm.
it brings on intentionality rather than just chancing things, pretty much willy-nilly around and not knowing, just pulling straws from a hat. Um, Making sure the children are safe, making sure they're in a healthy environment. That's a part of teachers knowing their role, what they're supposed to do, and how to make that happen with children. So it does matter because it's a whole lot of bullets under the role
Mhm.
of teachers,
Mm-hmm.
and to be the devil advocate when you don't ensure that children are safe and healthy, and making sure that you know the rules and regulations to keep them that way, then it's an accident waiting to happen. So it's important that sometimes the onboarding, of course, is important, but sometimes as educators, we have to take the initiative also to read policies and procedures to make sure that we get the trainings that we need. So it's a lot of entities in that, but it does matter because the main thing you want to always make sure children are safe and they're in a healthy environment.
So you said bullets. So and there are quite a few bullets. So you named
Yes.
safety. So we always say, health and safety is a biggie. The quality of the program.
Mhm.
In
Yeah,
order
I would
for
like
us
to
to,
say,
understanding what our roles or responsibilities are, we do have to understand what's the program like, right? What are we supporting? Licensing compliance.
Yes.
My motto was, as a director, we not trying to get ready, we stay ready. We've heard that time and time again, because that's something that we got to push. You everybody should know, what the rules and regulations are, because they're going to come out. Y'all know state coming out. So that's a big one when we're talking about, I'm just going over, like when you talked about bullets. And then team accountability, because we're all one team. We're all striving for success. We're all striving for a safe center. We're all striving for our children to learn. So collectively, everybody in the center does have to come together to make sure that we're supporting that. So that, again, making sure that we understand what our role is, whether it is a teacher, whether it is a director, whether it is the bus driver or, food service. What are our roles?
And taking
it's important what everyone just said, but I think the most thing is everybody should get their job description and study their job description and look that over, and what your role and responsibility is.
Everything is very interconnected. So if everybody's doing what's on their job description and the roles are being met and the roles and responsibility are being taken care of, then you don't have to worry about burnout. Nobody's overlapping on people's jobs. Instead of you might be a teacher and have to do this job, but they need assistance over here because that hadn't been done. So it's very important for like professional development, going back and revisiting those policies and procedures, because sometimes they change and we may not know. Like it may not trickle down to everybody knowing. So that's why staff development days are important. Professional development days as a whole with organizations or even in the smaller centers are important, so everybody can be on the same page because everything is interconnected.
Yeah, but you have to also understand, bring it down to the level of the classroom. Sometimes when you look at those bullets underneath job description and responsibilities, they're pretty much the same, from lead to support to this person to that person. So I think at some point, child cares need to take time to really pull out what the highlight of that role and responsibility is for that person, because we often hear that's not in my job description, or I wasn't trained to do that, or I'm not going to do this, or I'm not going to do that. When until those things are intertwined, and it has to be expressed to them and not just given a piece of paper to read what that job description is. I think admin or those people that are over teachers have to sit down with them as part of our onboarding and say, hey, listen, this thing is fluid. Part of being in childcare is you are willing to step up to a role that may not be written here on the black and white, but you're willing to step into that position to help continue to make this thing run smoothly.
Well, let me ask, and this is just what I'd like to know, because I think if I go in a classroom, and I know that all of us are seasoned, and we can go in a classroom and know if those roles are being applied. However, if I go in a classroom, I'm thinking that I shouldn't be able to tell who's the lead teacher, who's the teacher,
Absolutely,
the support, or whatever. Because everybody should be on board and know what their roles are. And if it overlaps, and sometime in our profession, it overlaps. We wear lots of hats.
Yes.
That's the bottom line. We wear lots of hats.
Lots of hats.
Lots of hats.
Plenty of hats.
Yes.
We wear.
So let me ask y'all something. Let's talk about the big picture, right? The big picture, we already said health and safety, learning environment, family trust, right? Because we're building a relationship, we're building a trust. That's a role. That's something that we have to do. So just talking about those things, what happens when the roles are unclear? So health and safety, learning environment, or the class environment, what happens? So when the roles are unclear about those situations?
Sicknesses. Children are sick. The classroom is constantly sick. It go through the whole class or onto the center. You have children, like I said earlier, being left in bathrooms because they thought that they had them. Like a miscommunication amongst teachers within just that same room or that same age group. So anything really can happen when health and safety roles and responsibilities not met. That's the most dangerous of them all.
Yeah,
Yeah,
lots of incident
Yeah.
reports happen.
lots of them.
Incident reports, parent complaints happen during that time because they come in and it may be a teacher who didn't open the classroom. It's the end of the day teacher, and there's no communication, so that teacher don't know, so they don't know what to tell the parent. So the parents are frustrated. You have the kitchen staff is delivering foods that to a classroom with children that have allergies. Not knowing who can have what to eat or to drink. We can go any deeper than that. I mean, if I shouldn't go into a classroom and say, okay, when there's a fire drill, which door you go out of, and the teacher's like, I don't know, because no one has, sat down with them to say, well, this is the health and safety part of your role. If in case you're by yourself and there's a fire drill, this is what you do. This is the door you go out of. This is where you go in the parking lot, those steps. I hear a lot of that often, that teachers just don't know because, first of all, centers just don't do it as regular as they should be doing it. So, if you at least practice it, then the teachers would know. But even when you have new teachers on board, just telling them, even though this is not written in black and white under your roles and responsibility, this is part of your health and safety. This is what you're still supposed to do as part of your role in the classroom.
And back to what Tamika and Jet was just saying, not communicating with your teacher or not communicating at all, how some little thing could turn into something. Be it just the other day, I'm gonna use myself as an example. We had to combine because one of the teacher was out and the cots was put out in the hallway, which they didn't belong in the hallway. And when they were asked to move the cots, one teacher said, well, they're not my cots. Another teacher said, I'm off the clock. So the next day we had to go all in a meeting and they wanted to say, well, if only she said this or only she would have said that. But those class belongs in another classroom. Why not just take them in the other classroom? You have to communicate. I think that's the biggest thing of communication. And if you communicate, things would go a little smoother.
And that goes back to even with the cops, that's health and safety.
Right.
That's health and safety. Right?
And let me be the devil advocate. Teachers, educators, early educators, we don't get the spring break, we don't get the winter break, we don't get the fall break, we don't get a chance to be out. So we have to have some mental health, and we have to do that ourselves. We have to know our roles, because we have to, when you don't know your roles, that cause even more confusion. That's the fact. It started affecting you mentally. You don't know what to do. And we all have experienced that. Teachers just in the room and they don't know what to do. Early educators get burned out because out of 365 days, most of the time, the average time we work is 355. Some days we get Christmas corners, but we work the whole year. Early educators.
And then when you're passionate about it, they have to make you take a break.
They have
to remind you, you got 20 days, you need to go, or you got 10 days, you need to go.
Just look at if you're in there and you're in the room by yourself with 8 toddlers. That's a lot.
Been there, done that
and when you don't know what you're doing, and they are all over the place. You're with a 3-year-old and he got some challenges, and you trying to fit in.
Right.
And when you're trying to fit in an environment, how are you going to give your 100% to the child?
Right.
And you don't know you don't know how to fit in what you just been pushed into. And basically that's what it is, and it happens frequently in our profession. I need a body.
And the teachers and the children feel it. They feel that you're winging it. They feed off the energy. And if you don't know what your role is, how can you teach the children what their role is? So you're winging it. The children are winging it. Everyone's chaotic. You're burned out. You're tired. You don't want to be there. Like you say, you're asking for additional supports. But if we, we took the time to look at, okay, this is my role responsibility, you know, maybe we can, we can take time to really focus on how to plan our day and how to walk in and plan our day each day and be prepared. The thing is always being prepared, like Melody said, always be ready for the unknowing, the unknown. You always want to be ready for the unknown.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
So
Melody, you
without
mentioned
that
learning
role
environment.
responsibility, go ahead.
Go on.
Go ahead, Miss
I was
Davis.
just saying, so without that, it's a lot of accidents and incidents and cross contaminations and just something down to health and safety of how to do art. What are we doing with the paint? Is your role to be there with the children? Some teachers don't even know that. They dropping things and going. No, you are to stay there. You have to watch. This is the age group where you have to watch and assist. Some teachers don't even know that. They're merely there to just kind of look, kind of a safety base in terms of like the view of it all. If that makes sense. Like they just there to make sure nobody's falling and fighting. Type of thing. No, you have to be engaged at the table, seeing if they're using. You're actually showing them how to use these things for the first 3 or 4 it's their first day coming to school. And so the roles and responsibilities are very, very, very important because you can like lose your job, if you don't have
Do you
those.
think that roles and responsibilities need to be revamped to um, need to be revamped? I mean, we've seen the roles and responsibilities pretty much the same bullets, and it's like just like we talked about, the children have changed. Uh, the workforce has changed. Those are in the workforce. We have a lot of young people that are digitally sound. Do you think that we need to update the roles and responsibilities on those forms, on the job boards and things like that, so people will truly understand what their role is in the classroom?
Absolutely, absolutely. Especially after COVID. COVID children are not the same.
No, yes, I
Parents are
think
not,
they
even
need.
grandparents are
I
not,
think they need to be
everybody's moving and
updated.
grooving. People are working. I don't think they realize that children are with us like 8, 9 hours a day.
Well, longer than that to me.
Longer than that,
Sometimes
yes.
11.
Get them an hour to get to work and get them, an hour.
Yeah.
Open the
So they're with
clothes.
us pretty much 10
Yeah.
hours a day.
Yeah.
Right.
So they're with
Right.
us for a long time. And now the thing is, when we talk about roles and responsibilities, it's the responsibilities of the grandparents to pick the children up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Most of the time we see grandparents dropping off and picking up. We say, you can,
Yes.
Yes.
that's another role and responsibility. So
Yeah.
we're not even
Exactly.
But let me,
conversations like I talked about having that relationship with the families, but your relationship is with a grandparent.
Yeah,
With the whole family.
It's going
I got-
beyond the immediate family now.
I have to have a relationship. The mom pick up on Tuesday and Thursday, daddy on Monday and Wednesday, grandma coming on Friday and for every other the granddaddy gonna come. You have a lot of moving parts, and so that's why
Yes.
it's very interconnected or
and
intertwined.
let me give you an analogy. I think
love
when
how
you
Miss
put
Davis do that.
teachers in a classroom, and it's like a child, your 3-year-old teacher, and you'd be like, has he ever been in school before? Has he ever had? So that's just like that's my analogy. You put a teacher in there who has never worked in childcare.
Right.
It's just like a student. A 3-year-old has never been in school before. What do we have to do?
Yep.
He's all over the place. So he excited at first because he see toys.
Right.
Yep.
And he think he gonna play with those toys all day, and which is fine, but he don't know that some part of the day we're gonna do this, another part of the day we're gonna do this, another part of the day, and that's like a new teacher.
Yeah,
Not
absolutely new teacher.
Yes,
new teacher.
And they literally sit and wait for instruction. Like they won't move. You have some teachers who will not move until you give them an instruction.
Or you have those teachers that's passion fire up. They just got out of college. They have all this plethora of knowledge that they read, and they're ready to get in this classroom, and they want to just do all these exciting things. And as soon as you get on board, they're like, "Oh, all this stuff is theory. This is real stuff. This is what's really going on." So all the stuff that you thought you was coming in, all this fun and things you thought you was coming in with, it's like, no, we don't do it this way. This is the way we do things.
Right.
And so it's like you have to relearn, where you're working, your roles and responsibilities, not about just coming in and teaching a class, they having fun. It's about, oh, now I got to worry about health and safety. Now I got to worry about ratios. Now I got to worry about is the development appropriate? Now I got to worry. So it's so many other things that's included in knowing what your roles and responsibility is.
Mm-hmm.
Down to the learning environment.
Mm-hmm,
How the room should be arranged.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
And we've walked in classrooms and it's just shelves all lined all the way around the wall.
Mm-hmm. Shelves turned to the wall.
And they don't know.
Open room, ready.
This is not, we're not just feeding and changing.
Yep.
You know, they have a preconceived notion that they come in, they just hold the baby.
Yeah, just nurturing. Yep.
You just hold the baby, hug the baby, play with the baby, talk to the baby.
Yeah.
We want to do all those things. However, these are 3 goals that he has.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get through doing those 3 goals, can you write some stuff down for me? You know, they don't realize it's a whole, we are teachers.
Yeah. And I think the biggest thing is when you send people who are novice and don't know, have not been told, no one has did onboarding with them. They just don't know. And like Jet said, you have people that have gone 4 years, 5 years in college and they got these credentials and they ready. It's in their heart, but it's not application.
Right.
And when they get in these classrooms and they got somebody swatting at them every 5 minutes and saying choice words to them, they have to have support. You have to go in and support them and let them know, it ain't peaches, it ain't what you read.
Mm-hmm.
It's not in these textbooks, these challenges that you may face.
Yeah.
And it's just sometimes disheartening when that does not happen because it's not the teacher's fault. We all have to join in and make sure that we're successful. And when you're successful, the children gonna get it. You're gonna give them the 100% that you know that you're supposed to give. But when you come in there with that 25%, we can walk in and know it's chaos.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So let's look at we doing the big picture, but let's break it down. Let's talk about the director. What is the role of the director? What are her roles and responsibilities? I can share some.
Really?
Yeah, we sharing. Yeah.
Because my biggest, y'all know everything I tried to do was black and white, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. What does the manual say? What does policies and procedures say? What does the parent handbook say? What does the staff handbook say? So just following everything that's black and white. But as a director, you're doing the hiring, right? So interviewing the teachers, because you got to make sure that it's a good fit, right? Because you can have teachers coming in and they're really good, and like y'all say, they textbook knowledge, they know all of it, but still, are they going to be a good fit for the family? And I just said, I'm talking about family as far as the center where you are,
culture,
the teachers, the admin. Are they going to be a good fit for that? Because we're enrolling. It's a lot that as a director that you do. You got to make sure your enrollment is up. You got to make sure your staff is there. The role of a director is budgeting, financing. Because of course everybody gonna come. I'll have this. I need this. Where are my supplies? Right. And so it's so much too as the director, what the responsibilities are for the director that I know, and I'm gonna say it because some people think that the director does nothing. They think they just sitting up there in the office and they're not doing anything, but they are, because they're communicating with families too. They're taking, putting out fires, and it may be a fire between co-teachers. It may be a fire between the teacher and a parent. We are, as a director, we're putting out fires. As a director, we're coaches, we're therapists, so it's so much more that we do, even with the roles that we have to do, of the responsibilities that we still have to make sure that the teachers are still doing their job. So what do you all think is the role of the director, or what do what do you expect them to do, or what do you want from them? And I love, and I'm going to say this, I love that we have everybody on here. We got infant toddler teacher, preschool teacher, curriculum, director, everybody on here. So we make up the center, right? As far as the staff, we make up that center. So what are your expectations for the director as their role?
I believe my expectations for the director is to be the glue that holds the whole thing together. The director's role to me is a little bit of everyone's role. It's a sample of everyone's role, whether it's in the classroom or support or doing other things even outside of the center. Because a lot of people don't realize that even the director have to go outside the center and do some community work, have to do some partnerships, getting some of those things together. So I think the director sets the tone for the child care. They're the ones that come in and make sure that all the pieces fit, to make sure that, as I always said, that the ship runs smoothly. You're like the engine. You're making sure the ship is running smoothly, and everyone else, the other parts of the ship, is all working together with the director to make sure that everything is moving forward.
Okay. Come on, y'all.
I agree. I think that as in my role, I think I like fairness. I like a leader, a director is not afraid to lead. Like, you can't be a punk director. I like a director that is you have to know that this is your ship and you have to drive it. I personally think the director should know, kind of like Jet was saying, everybody's job.
Yeah.
Because how are you going to make sure I'm doing because you are the check-in person. You are checking and make sure that food service is doing what they're doing, teachers or whoever's doing what they're doing. But if you don't know what they're supposed to be doing,
right,
that's the disconnect. So now the ship is about to hit the wall. And I think it's okay to delegate jobs as a director. However, if it's a job that you're supposed to do, you need to do it. And not delegate it to other people, because then it makes you lazy. And that's what you start doing, is just constantly delegating, giving it out to other people. And now we're confused about who role it is.
Right.
And so I think as director, it should be made very clear that you're a captain of this ship. We are a team. I need everybody to be working cohesive, be the therapist, be all the things, because you have to be, because in turn, in our classroom, we are nurses and therapists and all these things for the children. We are hairdressers. We got the pin-up clothes. We seamstress. We're everything too. And it's a lot for everybody. And know that as a director, it's a lot for us, just like it's a lot for you. So if you can be the captain and make it smooth for us, we can make it smooth for you. It needs to be, what is a well-oiled machine? Kind of like Jet was saying, it's a whole team. But fairness is definitely up there, and making sure that they are going to get their professional development. Don't just send us, because policies and procedures are changing. We're teachers. We got young teachers coming in. They're innovative. And so you can't have a leader or director that's just sitting there and not being innovative as well. When we move, you move. It's like just like that. And like we want to move with the director. When she move, we move. Whatever the innovation, whatever the changes are being made, let us know immediately, and don't make something that we could have done a priority right now.
Yeah.
Because now we all confused, we mad, we already burnt out, because this is our passion and we're here every day and we don't take those vacation days. So we need directors to know that we are on your team and we need to work together.
Yes.
I agree with both. The director sets the tone, and we do understand that all of these other the business part of being a director, but also if you want your center if you want your center to run like a well-oiled machine, you have to make sure that you are first of all hiring quality people, and you have to make sure that you follow up.
Yes.
That you're going in the classroom, you're seeing that they're implementing these things that they need to do, that they know their role. You have to take some time out for onboarding. You have to take some time out for some conversations, so that you'll know. You can get that feedback. Okay, Melody. Okay, now so you tell me what your roles and what your responsibilities are.
Yeah,
so you have to take that time out if you want. It is so much governing when it comes to childcare.
Yeah.
And when licensing come and they don't see these things done, it doesn't matter about the business part.
Right.
Because they're going to close you down.
Right.
So you got to make sure that the people that are in those centers, the teachers, your support team, know their roles and know their responsibilities.
Right.
You cannot, as a director, you cannot ask somebody to do something that you're not going to do.
Exactly.
And I remember it was a time when, as a director, when I was a director, when the dumpster was trash all around the dumpster. Y'all know, I didn't want to go out there and clean that trash up, but guess what? I can't ask somebody else to do it either. So I remember that day, I did ask a couple of male teachers, which I love male teachers. I put my boots on, got the shovel, put a hat on, a mask on, gloves on, and went out there because I can't make somebody do something that I'm not going to do. And that's not something I wanted to do, but it was something that I did. So, yes, Tamika, we have to understand every part of that, right? Every role in that center, because we're going in the kitchen. We're going to be the bus driver. We're going to be a bus monitor. We're going to be in a classroom. Right? We're going to change Pampers. We're going to read stories. We're going to take on everybody's role in there. So that is the responsibility of the director. They got to know it all.
Yeah, they got to be seen.
Yeah.
And you gotta be ready.
Yeah.
Like directors gotta be ready. You don't have time to fall back. And one thing that I noticed is that you have to be consistently directing. Like you can't licenses coming today, so now you on board today.
It's just like
you haven't been on board, meaning on board in terms of like in the center.
Right.
Locked in the room, and now it's like license coming. Hey, no, you have to be interconnected, intentional, and consistent with your team all the way, all the time.
Yeah,
As a false.
Yeah, it's just like a play. In the play, the director is the person that shares with everyone what their role is and where they play in the big picture. And that's what the director has to do. They have to be seen. They have to be fair. They have to be not afraid of people. We've met directors in the past that they will stay in their office because they're afraid of confrontation. So you want a director that is people friendly, has empathy, knows how to understand when people need a getaway, need a break. We have to, director's role is to make sure they're in tune with their staff and make sure they're supporting them in every way.
So guess what? It's like cat and mouse. It's like your children. It's like children when you are a teacher. They know when they will, if you lucky enough to have another teacher working there, they pretty much know which one to go to, who's gonna let them do whatever they want to. And that's the way your staff will be. They'll know when you sit in that office all day and you don't walk and go in those classrooms, well, they're gonna do what they want to do because they already know. Only thing that Melody's gonna do, honey, don't worry about it. They talk among each other. They have lunch together. Girl, she don't come out of that office. She ain't gonna do nothing but stay in that office.
Yeah.
And then she go to Walmart, and then when she go out to lunch, she come back, she stay 2 hours. They peep that.
Yeah, they do. Yes, they do. They sneak off. They take longer lunches. There's a lot of things that you, like you said, when the cat's away or not in tune, the mice will play. So teachers take advantage of absentee directors.
There you go.
Well, one thing when I said that they are, you can't be a punk director. Sometimes you can have one person come to your center and spoil a whole bunch. You got to get them out of there. You can't be afraid to be like, you got to go. Because I think we talked about last week how we was making it without that one teacher before. Don't be afraid to say, oh, she is definitely not a good fit. So you have to be having empathy and all those things. But when it's time to let go, you got to be a teacher that's not a punk to let go. Because you can have one apple come in and turn the whole center, upside down. And you don't want that. So that's what I mean by don't be a punk director.
Right. And Tamika, let me piggyback on that. That's the mistake that some directors make by befriending. They can't draw that line and say, okay, then, after work, because I had one director to say, oh, no, I don't fool with none of the teachers. I've met a whole lot of really nice people that we're forever friends. I don't think that should be. Again, it's you. You have to know how to set boundaries. And I feel if I had my sister, if I had any of you, if I had a child care center, then if you care about me like I'm supposed to care, you're going to respect that. But everybody don't do that. So that's when the director have to know. Like you said, there can't be a pump. I don't care if we go out every night, whatever. When you're not doing your job, you're gonna get a write up, and then we're gonna follow the protocol, and then you got to leave my center.
Yeah. So my is the director has to lead and manage.
Yes.
Like they can't punk out, right? A director has to be visible.
Yes.
You have to be able to see them and supportive in all of the classrooms. They can't have a favorite classroom.
Absolutely.
They have to be that support for all of the classrooms. They have to be that support for all of the support staff members, right? Because they are accountable. At the end of the day, they are accountable for the entire
building.
Entire building.
And the only way your team is going to support you is if the director supports them and do what they're supposed to do. Because your team is going to, tell on you, right? They'll talk about you, they'll say some harsh things about you.
Yes.
But if you support them and you respect them and you appreciate them,
they got your back.
They got your back.
Got your back. We coming in on Saturday.
So can we talk about?
We can do those things.
So what happened? Let's talk about what happened when the director are not doing those things. Let's be the devil advocate.
Well, we just said it. The staff is not going to support them.
Yep.
They're not going to be there. They're going to do whatever they want because
they're going to be running the play. They're going to be running the program.
Yes.
It's going to be a mess. You can walk in and tell it's going to be a hot mess.
You're going to have too many chiefs. You have too many chiefs.
Yes.
I know it is.
Yeah, it's going.
You lose teachers like that. You lose families like that.
Turnover.
And a lot of times when you have an arena that I've worked in, you have repeat families. And let's become a time where it's a director and they off. I don't care if they had 3 kids. The other 3 going somewhere else.
Yep.
They're gonna try it, but at the end of the day, you lose families, you lose good teachers. It just becomes a mess, and you start to see it even when you're not. Even if license is not coming, but if you have an overall team, they start to hear it.
Yeah.
It starts making the whole environment
effect.
No
morale in the center.
High turnover.
Either low or no morale. Yes. And high turnover.
High
you are absolutely right. Ladies, this has been wonderful. But we got so much more to talk about.
It's a big topic.
We didn't get to the lead teachers, the teachers.
Next time.
We didn't get to any of that. But everyone, I want to thank you for joining us today on the All Things Childcare podcast. Today, we talked about the importance of understanding roles and responsibilities within your program and how each position from administration to classroom staff to support staff contributes to the overall success of your center. Remember, when everyone knows their role and is held accountable, programs run smoother, staff feel more confident, and most importantly, children receive the quality care they deserve. As you can see, there is so much to discuss when it comes to roles and responsibilities in childcare, and we've only just begun to scratch the surface. We're going to continue this conversation in our next episode because there is still more important information to share that will help strengthen your program and your team. So be sure to come back and join us as we dive even deeper into this topic. Don't forget to subscribe, share this episode with your team, and stay connected so you don't miss part 2. Until next time, remember that the work you do in childcare makes a lasting difference in the lives of children and families every single day. Thank you for listening to the All Things Childcare podcast. Until next time.
Good night.
That was good.